Let's go, we're live. We're so live, man. Okay. Okay. Hey guys, I'm just finishing some part of the script and we will begin with the podcast. So just give me a second if anyone is there and we'll begin with the pod. Just finishing a little something here. And we'll begin. I wish, man. I don't know what it sounds like. I type very fast, but it's actually because I have like a very bad style of typing. I type mostly with my index, so it sounds like a lot more impressive than it actually is. I type very fast for not using all my fingers though, but I'm actually like pretty mid when it comes to typing speed. I'm not like fantastic. How are you, man? Okay. Just gotta add a few pictures here, and we're ready to go. Welcome everyone. We'll get into the podcast like 5 minutes max. To be honest, like just give me a little while if you guys want to talk about anything. And let's do the classic, the opening the energy drink on camera. Why not, right? Okay, that was good. That was good. That was good. Okay, I need to grab some screenshots and we're ready to go. Oh man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hey man, I don't think I don't think I'm following you on my other YouTube channel. I have to make sure to add you to my recommended pages. I think I added you the other day, but I need to move you like higher. I do need to, man. Like, you always support me, and I like your content, man. It's not just me being like. I will, man. I will. You want it or not? I'm going to be sharing your old videos too. Okay, I'm gonna do it like that, like this. So, nah. Oh, you're in a kind of like a hiatus situation right now. Moving is a chore, man. I'm not looking forward to move from here, man. I will eventually have to, but man, wish I could just stay here. Just moving all your stuff, like always something gets broken in the way or something. Okay, I just need like 200 more of these and we'll be okay. Oh my god, I'm just... It's not my day, man. Not my day at all. Hey, ready for the house. What's up, man? Hype and analysis moments. And aura. There's also aura, man. Give me the aura, please. Give me the aura, man. I'm just taking some stupid screenshots from topology, so give me a little while and we'll begin to talk about stuff one day. Okay. Man, I'm just taking forever doing this, man. I'm so sorry, people. But we're going wild very soon. Navajo Stirling, man. Do you read Navajo or Navajo Stirling? What do you guys think, man? I have no idea. I don't remember how they pronounce that during the broadcast. And I don't usually trust the broadcast either. Like, they just butcher names. They have been promoting, like, Manon... how are they saying? Manon Fio? That's so fake. That's not how you say her name. What are we even doing at this stage, man? Navajo by decision. Spoilers, man. Damn spoilers. This is 9. Okay. This is 10. This is 11. I'm so sorry, guys. Let's pretend that it's in... when it hits like 30 minutes, I don't know what time zone you are, guys, but Yeah, when it hits 30 minutes mark, that's because we're all good. Some countries are actually like 30 minutes, like 30 minutes offset. I think Venezuela has, because they used to have like two time zones, and then they decided to have just only one time zone, and they like took the average of it. It's crazy, man. And it's taking forever, man. What did I pick for this one? Okay. There's a Niagara top team. No, it was 15. Okay. We're getting there. There's so very few left. So I'm almost there, man. Just 6 more, please. Okay, 4 more. Valentina is still listed as Tiger Muay Thai on Topology. And Manon is from a camp called Boxing Squad, which is very funny because she's like, just like Holly, he's like the most like karate fighter of all time. I'm picking a bunch of decisions here. Slight spoiler here. Jack Della doesn't have a team in Topology. That's very interesting. Okay, we're finally done. I'm sorry, guys. Screenshot and type moments. Navajo. I would read it Navajo because I just like Spanish is my first language, so I would do it like that. Ariel Helwani. Yeah, this is a way later start than usual. Like an hour and a half. I would say Navajo myself, but no idea what's the etymology of his name in particular, so I don't know. But yeah, we're set to go. I'll just add all the pictures to the slideshow here. We should be good to go. Oh my god, no. Okay, my name. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for your patience. Let me open Logic here. Create a new tab and we'll be good to go. I think I need a... Hey there everyone, I'm Feño from the Fight Side. This is the fall preview for UFC 315. We have Belal Muhammad against Jack Della Maddalena in our main event. This is going on this Saturday, May 10 in Montreal, Quebec, in Canada. So we have a 12 bout card here. We have been getting a lot of 13 bouts, so it was nice to only have 12 to watch here. And we have some cool fights, actually. I'm very excited about the main event. I think this is a great main event. I know Belal has a lot of haters. I'm not the biggest fan, but I feel like this is a very compelling matchup. And Belal earned his spot as the champion, even though, as you know, guys, I didn't agree with the decision. I just rewatched Belal versus Leon. I still think Leon won round 1, but it was close enough, so I'm not calling robbery there. But yeah, and we have the co-main event in what might be a passing of the torch moment between Valentina Shevchenko and bigger, stronger, more output Valentina Shevchenko in Manon Fiorot. We also have Jose Aldo in action in this card. And a pivotal women's flyweight bout in the main card too. So why don't we get into the action? Let's get into the first fight of the night immediately. So yes, first fight of the night, we have a flyweight bout. Oh no, excuse me, a bantamweight bout. we're beginning things great here. But we have a bantamweight bout between Brad Katona and Bekzat Almakhan. So let's begin here with... We'll begin with Katona. So Katona is a smothering wrestle boxer, very heavy on the front foot, though he will adapt a more kick-friendly stance on occasion. He has pretty quick hands with decent pop. Katona likes short compact combinations, but his output can be very high if needed. He has a penchant for having the last word in exchanges, usually tracking opponents with loopy shots or his jab when they think the exchange is over. Of note is his solid left hook to the body, particularly on the counter. And so are his stepping elbows that he uses to surprise opponents after he has attempted blitzes and darts a few times. He can be vulnerable to leg kicks as he's so front foot heavy and lacks the depth to his head movement, relying mostly on his counter ability and footwork so he can be set up with combinations. But his ability to just dive for takedowns gives him a safety blanket. He looks to push opponents against the cage to begin the wrestling assault. He's a good chain wrestler, specializes in finishing the double against the cage, and looks to work rights as the opponent is looking to build up his base. Though he can also be effective striking inside the clinch with smothering cage control, good knees, elbows, and also punches during breaks. Takedown defense can be spotty, but he's a solid scrambler. Despite this, he can be put flat on his back if caught by a clean shot, and can be forced to lose time trying to set up sweeps or get-ups from bottom position. Although he has a solid guard with a good triangle and armbar attacks that he can use to scramble if he is forced to play Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Cardio, toughness, and greediness are some of his best attributes. Katona can lack direction when he can easily impose his wrestling, and while he has some good ideas, he can fail to build off his offense as the fight progresses. Against him, we have Bekzat Almakhan, a long wrestle kickboxer that fights out of a bouncy upright stance. A big hitter, Almakhan uses his in and out movement to set up long roundhouse kicks to the body and head, and he likes sitting down for huge overhands and uppercuts. A counter threat who mostly uses distance as a trigger, Almakhan can put quick combinations together. He has decent footwork and will move out of the way or pivot after his combinations, and he has good mobility around the cage. His movement is limited to reactive ducks and leanbacks though, and he keeps his chin high during his combinations. A transition fighter by trade, Bekzat is strong in the clinch and scrambling. In the clinch, he's well versed with trips from a variety of grips, and he's nasty with elbows and knees during breaks. He can lose too much time with tie-ups against the fence though. As a defensive wrestler, he can allow entries too much, but he's a good scrambler and mat wrestler, usually trying to counter with butt drags and whizzers. He can be controlled on the ground, but he's good at defending ground and pound and submissions and will look for get-ups during transitions. From top position, he's dangerous with big ground and pound, usually opting for damage using rights and mat returns to land ground and pound. Bekzat is decently sized for the division and athletic. He carries big power and has a surprisingly good gas tank for his explosive style. His lack of defensive nuance in the striking, his potential to be stealth and willingness to take the fight everywhere, and therefore lack of focus are his biggest flaws. This is a fight between two transition-based wrestlers. I don't think Katona will be able to wrestle and lay on top of Almakhan easily, so this is probably going to be a banger because when Katona has to dig deep into a fight, he does. Katona might have some better looks as a boxer, but Almakhan has a sizable reach advantage and a power edge. Also, Almakhan is the more active and technical kicker of the two, which will allow him to control the long range, forcing Katona to close the distance. Both guys are susceptible to lose time if they end up on their backs, but I think Katona will struggle more with controlling the larger fighter. It seems like a closely contested fight, but I think Almakhan's ability to compete everywhere with some key advantages earns him a decision victory. Okay, let me get back into the chat. Kobe Soldik might not be able to catch the full stream. Yeah, it's always available later, man. I always just leave it up, and actually I also add timestamps after the fact. Dude, I could swear that Katona was like 39 years old. How old is Katona? I can. He's 33. He has been fighting forever, man. He should have been so young during his first UFC run, man. It's kind of crazy. Okay, let's get into the next fight. Which one is it? Okay, this one is a banger, man. We move up to featherweight because we have a bout between Daniel Willy Cat Santos and Yeong Lee. So let's begin with Willy Cat. Daniel Santos is a classic Diego Lima shooter box pressure fighter. A well-rounded threat that likes to walk people down with some similar tools of that of his teammate Charles Oliveira, using long front kicks, powerful roundhouses, flying knees, and spinning attacks to push people back to the fence, where he can swarm opponents with combinations, grab clinches, or shoot for a takedown. A decent boxer, Willy Cat packs pop in both hands and is a threat with straights, hooks, and uppercuts that he can put together in meaningful combinations. His pressuring footwork is solid and he can track circular opponents with leg kicks or long straight punches. His head movement can be lacking, especially during his zone combinations, as he likes to rely on his high guard, and he has been susceptible to strike from his opponent's left side, particularly high kicks. His counter-punching skills and his ability to parry punches and catch kicks when moving forwards mean he's not defensively helpless, though. A solid wrestler, Santos is not afraid to change levels, and he's quick with his shot, being on open space or against the fence. As most Diego Lima students, he's the strongest from the clinch with a variety of trips, lifts, and hip tosses. His takedown defense is solid, and he's usually only taken down when opponents open up with big strikes. From the bottom, he's an active grappler, threatening with his triangle armbar series, and transitions to leg locks to create space and stand up on reverse positions. And from top, he has a very solid base with good ground and pound, and will threaten with back takes and front headlock chokes during transitions. Durability and cardio are good qualities for him. Other than some defensive liabilities, his straight approach can lack adaptability, and that can be seen as his most notorious flaw. Against him, we have Yeong Lee. Big and long for the weight class, Lee fights out of a front foot heavy stance looking to stalk his opponents. He doesn't keep a high output, but when he opens up, he's aggressive with sharp boxing combinations. As the owner of a long and snappy jab, he likes to go to the body with hooks from both hands. Lee pressures with his presence, footwork, and feints, looking to draw movement or attack to counter. He could support a movement with hooks well, and he can counter with after his first layer of head movement. Very offense oriented, he has decent footwork and can move his head, but he can be stationary and vulnerable during exchanges. Solid leg kicks round up his distance game. As most Korean fighters, he's strong in the clinch with good grip fighting. Knees and elbows, especially during breaks, are a strong point. And so are his trips, particularly from double underhooks. He can be stuck in clinches against the cage for prolonged periods though. Takedown defense is very solid, quick and strong hips, and he can get to the cage to fight grips from the clinch as previously mentioned. He can be susceptible to reactive shots when getting too aggressive though. A BJJ black belt, he's aggressive off his back with submission attempts, especially the armbar that he can also use to scramble back to his feet. From top position, he's very aggressive with ground pound, and while he's solid positionally, he usually focuses on damage and allows get-ups. Lee is athletic, and his cardio has looked at least decent so far, and he's also very durable. His shallow defense, especially when getting aggressive, and his lack of high-level experience are his biggest problems. This fight should be a banger between members of the body punching crew. Both guys are aggressive and well-rounded. Santos should have the edge on output, but Lee is the bigger fighter as the natural featherweight. Remember that Daniel Santos is still a bantamweight fighter in the UFC. Neither guy is particularly brilliant defensively, but Santos is more structured, while Lee has the length, reach, and power to keep himself safe. When it comes to wrestling, Santos might be more insistent, but Lee has the cleaner technique inside the clinch, on top of his aforementioned size advantage. Both guys are coming off long layoffs, Lee around 10 months, while Santos almost 2 years, so that's something to consider here. I think Santos has the process edge and can win the fight if he's the one pushing forwards, but I think Lee's dynamism, size, shot selection, and strong clinch game will come in clutch for him. I'm picking a second round knockout for Yeong Lee. Let's get into the shot. Okay, I'm a sucker for Rangy Korean featherweight. Nice boxing and defensive vulnerabilities. Oh, Sungwoo Show was fun, man, but he's like sketchy. This is a great fight, especially because it's at short notice. Santos, I think, was scheduled to fight a few times and he didn't make it to fight night, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check here. So yeah, Santos had that awful fight against Johnny Munoz on 2023. Then he was supposed to fight Daniel Marcos in 2023. Then he was supposed to fight Said Nurmagomedov in 2024. And he was supposed to fight Davy Grant like a few weeks ago. And it was Santos, the one that was like pulling out of all those fights. So it was always his fault. I mean, he was the one responsible. So hopefully he makes it to Saturday, man. At least this is like a smaller weight class, a smaller weight cut, so he should be fine here. Yeah, this one should be a banger. I'm very excited about this fight. I really hope it happens, man. This one should have been a banger like 5 years ago, but we'll get into that. We move to middleweight for a bout between Marc-Andre Barriault and Bruno Silva. So let's begin with Barriault. A former pace and pressure fighter, Barriault has been taking a more cautious style in his last few fights. The Gilcliff FC product looks to either fight behind the jab or shake hands to land left hooks or right hands. He possesses a good amount of variety in his offense to keep opponents guessing in the form of little stance changes, shifts, and kicks to all three levels. Of note is his snap kick to the body that aids with his iteration and pace game. His defense is at its best when moving forwards, as he's able to move his head or smaller opponents with clinches. Barriault is very aggressive in the clinch with knees and especially elbows and uppercuts that he finds from single collar ties, both against the fence and in open space. He will actively look for clinches, especially when fighters start feeling his pressure. He can be taken down if surprised with transitions, but he's a decent defensive grappler and has a good sprawl that he gets on point when the pace is taking effect. From top, he's similarly punishing with ground pound, and he's the owner of a dangerous guillotine that he can catch in transitions. He's a decent but unspectacular athlete, and his defense relies on his grasp of the initiative, and the lack of depth can be exposed when he's being the nail instead of the hammer. He has had less than stellar results lately, and his durability might be questionable nowadays. Against him, we have Bruno Silva, a wild but heavy-handed southpaw striker who switches stances often. Silva likes to walk people down behind his high guard, using kicks, looking to blitz in with loopy punches that he throws with wild form but with sneaky accuracy and power, usually keeping his weight under him despite all the shifting that he does. Once he gets opponents against the fence, he can put combinations well, attacking with hooks and uppercuts and using his lead hand to post, and he attacks both body and head with power and decent awareness of shots coming back. His defense relies a lot on his management of distance, lean backs, and his high guard. He does move his head after combinations here and there, and his punching form usually takes his head off center line. And he also sometimes uses a sort of a Dracula guard to protect against the fence. Other than his powerful kicks, he also adds variety with his ability to find powerful knees, especially during clinch breaks, where he's also dangerous with his loopy punches. Not much of an open space wrestler, but he's an opportunistic takedown artist inside the clinch. He can defend takedowns in open space well when he has a read on the distance and timing of his opponents, attacking grips early and removing his hips from the equation. He has been taken down by prolonged exchanges against capable chain wrestlers, but he's a solid mat wrestler and scrambler. Always looking to create space to wall walk or push off the hips, and is surprisingly good at defending back takes, attacking hooks early. From top position, his ground pound is remarkable, not only able to generate big power from small spaces, but also having dangerous accuracy. Even from his back, he's able to find surprisingly powerful shots. Formerly the owner of an iron shin and good conditioning, both aspects of his game seem to be deteriorating with age. He's not only less durable than before, but his wild punching form borderlines on straight up sloppy at times now. So this is a fight that could have been great like 3 years ago, but now it seems like both fighters already saw their best days. Silva in particular looks very diminished. While there used to be some calculation to his wild attacks, he tends to get sloppy often nowadays, as I already mentioned. Barriault, on the other hand, seems to be less durable, and his less aggressive approach exposed a lot of his flaws. So I don't think it's the right approach for him. Silva is still durable and still a powerful hitter, so the chances that he gets Barriault out of there early are certainly there. But I think his current tendency to fight on focus and somewhat like check out of fights make me side with the Canadian here, who will have the home advantage and has not been looking that bad other than some shin issues. So I think that Barriault will survive the first and he will take a decision. Man, Bruno Silva has been looking rough, man. And it's weird because, like, other than a very few instances, he's still, like, durable. And he still, like, hits hard. But he's, like, he's like, not shot. He's, like, washed, right? Like, Bruno Silva is perfect to explain the difference between shot and washed. Because it's not like he gets killed by everything or that he can move anymore. But he just looks washed, right? This is a kind of demonic fight, but I'd rather see guys like this like fighting each other than the UFC feeding them to like super young guys that are super dynamic, right? Like, what's the name of that like super jacked guy that they have? Hey, Ghost, what's up, my man? Oh, yeah. Imagine Kevin Holland killing both these guys. That would suck, man. Kevin Holland is once again fighting someone old, right? He's fighting someone old. I'm pretty sure he's fighting Luque. Oh my god. That's so bad. Kevin Holland versus Luque is like disgusting, man. Why is the UFC doing this to me, man? He's literally fighting someone with brain damage, man. Life's like that sometimes, man. Sucks. Okay, let's get into the next one. Oh, Navajo. I'm going to go with Navajo, okay? We go to light heavyweight for our next bout. We have a fight between Navajo Stirling and Ivan Erslan. So let's begin with Navajo. Yet another city kickboxing product with pro experience in striking rule sets. As a lot of his teammates, Stirling looks to fight out of a wide stance behind the lead shoulder and rear hip feint. Once he has the opponent reacting to his stiff jab and solid leg kicks, he can open up with variety. He has good understanding of rhythm and timing. Stirling constantly mixes the speed of his strikes and feints and uses false entries often. Variety and shot selection is also a strong point. He usually draws the high guard with jabs and fillers, and from there he attacks the body with hooks and knees, or can try to bypass the guard with hard elbows. He has a very good sense of distance, and that's his main form of defense, being with footwork or leanbacks. His chin is up in the air during most of his attacks, so there's a potential vulnerability to counters. He has looked decent in the clinch so far, aided by his physicality, his hard to take down, and has very strong collar ties. Takedown defense has also looked solid, usually killing shots with frames before sprawling if it's necessary. He's somewhat green on the mat, but his athleticism and good instincts mixed with urgency to get up are very encouraging. Stirling is big and athletic for the division, and while he's somewhat stiff, he seems to have a good mind for fighting. Grappling against higher level opposition remains to be seen, and some of the habits during striking exchanges are concerning. Against him, we have Ivan Erslan, a powerful boxer. Erslan is plodding and fights out of a hunched high guard. He has a sharp jab that he can afford to use more, and is the owner of powerful hooks from both hands. He can also throw his right hand in the form of a straight, a powerful 1-2, and like to throw a lot of overhands as well. Uppercuts from both hands and a solid calf kick make up the majority of the rest of his game. Erslan is solid defensively when he's mindful about it, with good hip movement, mechanics, and solid footwork that he can use in conjunction. He can default to his high guard too much at times though, and he's vulnerable during transitions. Physically strong, he has serviceable clinch game with solid takedown defense, but again, transitions seem to be the weak link for him. As a grappler, he's also serviceable. Even from his back, he has good instincts and urgency about escaping and getting up. Erslan is a bit foot slow, but he's powerful and strong and fights at a sustainable pace. Despite being solidly well-rounded, he has trouble staying consistent, and he struggles with transitions, as I mentioned like 3 times already. His lack of variety and second gear can also hurt him. I expect this fight to play out on the feet. Erslan has more than twice the experience in MMA of Stirling, but Stirling has his previous pro kickboxing stint under his belt. Stirling will have a decent length advantage, maximized by his style as the more consistent jabber and by far the more active kicker in the matchup. Erslan actually has a decent shot of catching Stirling on the counter as the Kiwi lacks head movement and the Croatian seems to be the better pocket boxer. That being said, I gotta side with Stirling here as the more active, mobile, aggressive and varied striker. I think the kicking and distance will be trouble for Erslan. But Erslan is very tough, so I'm picking Navajo Stirling by decision here. Okay, let's get back to the chat. Who is Ivan? Ivan fought Cutelaba. That fight was very close. You can score that for Ivan. He's not bad, man. He's pretty decent. Navajo Stirling is weird because he looks like 19 and 39 at the same time. How old is he actually? He's 27. Yeah, that makes sense actually. Navajo Stirling is cool. He's like a less polished like Dan Hooker in a way worse division. So, and it's very interesting because now we have we have Navajo and we have Oldberg together in the light heavyweight division, man. So that's very interesting. Hey, man, I like Saint Simon a lot, man. And obviously, like, BB section was like the inspiration for me doing this. I cannot do it for all fight cards, like, I can't. But I do it for the pay-per-views. So my main inspirations actually for the full preview are the BB sections. And also, I don't know if any of you remember, but Shared Dog used to have some previews, written previews, and they used to be done by Pat Wyman back in the day. Then they went to other guy when Pat Wyman went onto Heavy Hands. But Pat Wyman used to write profiles for the fighters, so that's why I never thought about it. I'm just realizing now that that's probably why I do the fighter profiles before the predictions. I mean, I don't know Pat Wyman personally, obviously. I just used to listen to him at Heavy Hands, and I used to read him on Shared Dog. Not hot take, but like hey, Moise, do you say it like that? I don't know, but welcome. I like Pat Wyman. He kind of checked out in his last like Heavy Hands stint. It's obviously that his heart was not on the place anymore. But he was decent. I remember. Getting used to Phil was kind of weird, but I love Phil now, man. Phil McKenzie, shout out. One of the first like big like analyst accounts that followed me back on Twitter. So I will always have a soft spot for Phil McKenzie, man. And yeah, guys, you should harass the Heavy Hands guys to have me on the show. You know Conor Rivers is scared to have me on the show. Nah, man, I love the Heavy Hands guys. I would love to be a guest there. Like, it would be crazy because I have been listening to them for like 10 years now. So, hey, man, that's not a crazy take, man. 13 hours from now, I would probably be awake, man. So I can do that, probably, man. Okay, let's move on to the next fight. We're having a good chat today, man. We don't have a lot of people, but I feel like we're having fun over here, man. Okay, what's this fight? Oh, we stay at light heavyweight. Okay. I kind of think this is fun. I don't hate this fight, to be honest. Sure, dude. Okay. We stay at light heavyweight for our next bout. We have a fight between Modestas Bukauskas and Yeong Cutelaba. Let's begin with Bukauskas, an out-fighting kickboxer who kicks and jabs well from both stances. Bukauskas likes to move around in open space using his movement and feints to set up kicks or attack on the counter. He has decent mobility on the outside, but his movement can be a bit too wide, and that can be concerning against good pressure fighters. He can kick effectively from both legs to all three levels, and is not afraid to mix in a spinning attack here and there. When it comes to countering, he can use his leg kicks on entries and likes his wide lead hook, either as a check or a follow-up to his rear hand. He can be vulnerable backing up when he doesn't remember to take angles, but incoming foes need to be careful with his sneaky short counters while moving back. Same time counters have been a problem as he doesn't move his head much, and his movement-based style has left him vulnerable to body attacks. He's solid if unspectacular in the clinch with decent strength, able to pommel for underhooks, and will dig hard knees to the body given the space. From his back, he's also functional with a solid guard and patience to find spots to kick off the hips and use the guard to get back up. He has shown improved grappling lately. He has been training with Tom Aspinall after all, and he displayed a solid arm triangle in his victory over Prachnio. Bukauskas is well conditioned and tough, but he can be vulnerable when he gets too aggressive, and he's shaky and can doubt himself when not finding success. Against him we have Yeong Cutelaba, a wrestle boxer that fights in sprints. Cutelaba is a powerful boxer who likes moving his head side to side, looking to close the distance against his often taller opponents. He packs power on both hands and can put combinations together well, but his head can become stationary during prolonged exchanges. He's decent at drawing reactions to counter, both from step backs and slips, and his side-to-side head movement and constant level changes play directly into his wrestling. He's decent at, other than his head movement, he's also good at hiding behind his lead shoulder, but his defense can become static under feints and during combinations. Cutelaba is a physically imposing but also a reasonably technical wrestler who can finish takedowns in open space and against the fence. His single leg series in particular has shown to be very effective, usually fighting trips from high singles after making opponents try to maintain balance. He also has a good reactive double leg in open space and a solid inside-outside trip change-up inside the clinch. Cutelaba's penchant for mat wrestling can get him in trouble though, as he can concede bottom position holding onto ankles or find himself in front headlocks against bigger guys. He has good scrambling abilities and a good chin, but his cardio and resolve had let him down in the past. His fast starts and aggressive striking and wrestling style get him tired quite early in fights and has trouble turning fights around when his dynamism is diminished. It is a classic battle of consistency against dynamism. Bukauskas will look to have constant volume and will look to set up his strikes over time and make reads, while Cutelaba on the other hand is more likely to fight in bursts, use immediate setups, and use his broader if shallower skill set to find a finish. Both guys have been dealing with confidence issues in the past, and while Cutelaba is finally on a win streak, Bukauskas looks more composed and consistent as of late. The chances for an early finish by Cutelaba either on the feet or on the mat is not small, but I gotta side with the better put together fighter if this one goes long, and I think it will. So I'm picking Bukauskas by decision here. Okay, let me get back to the chat here. One thing for sure, it won't be boring. Yeah, man, these guys put on decent fights, man. Hey, Rio Sosa and James Kendrick, man. Protect your neck, man. Yeah, I think this one is going to be fun. I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun, to be honest. Let's check what else we have here. This one is going to be fun too. We go to flyweight for a bout between Jessica Andrade and Jasmine Jasudavicius. Let's begin with Jessica Andrade. Despite being clearly past her best, Andrade remains a force at both 115 and 125. While she's in a clear physical decline, that are more notorious in some aspects than others, she's still an athlete to be reckoned with. The few steps she has been losing in speed and strength are apparent. And her always present technical flaws are more present than ever now. This is only augmented by her inconsistency in her performances. That said, Andrade still has good qualities. She's still a very big hitter with power in both hands and will throw her hooks in combination. She can also punish the body to great effect. When she remembers to, she can use leg kicks well. And same goes for head movement, which has been very hit and miss. Andrade is good at tracking opponents around the cage, doubling her hooks, but her pressuring footwork falls apart once she starts exchanging and has trouble staying on top of foes. She has good takedown defense against the fence, and her strengths allow her to get hard underhooks, plus her footwork and head positioning are usually on point on those situations. She's also very strong looking for high crotches against the cage. That's how she won the title back in the day. So there's another aspect to her game there. Though that's a bit less present at 125, I would say. Andrade has historically been frustrated by good movers on the outside and good clinchers in open space. Her shin seems to be not at its best anymore, but the cardio seems to be holding on still. Despite no apparent conditioning issues, her volume has also become inconsistent. Against her, we have Jasmine Jasudavicius, a grindy clinch wrestler. Notable improvements to her stand-up in her last few fights. Jasmine is now capable of pressuring or moving on the outside. Solid straight punches, leg kicks, and mobility give her options. She can move opponents into shots or she can track them down with her reach. While her head movement is lacking, her insistent hand fighting, even grabbing wrists mid-combinations, give her a newfound comfort inside the pocket. And her level changes also work as a means of defense. All of this has improved her clinch entries too. She's very strong inside the clinch. She can work from a variety of grips and she's a striking and wrestling threat. Uppercuts, punches over the top, knees and elbows are thrown at a steady volume, and she makes sure to control the breaks. Takedowns come against the cage with trips and throws, but also in open space, usually of a shallow level change mixed with trips or turning the corner. A very solid grappler, Jasudavicius keeps good control, has answers in scramble situations, and keeps decent output with ground and pound. Size, cardio, and grit are some of her best assets, and her understanding of transitions patches a lot of her weakness, to be honest. A lack of nuanced defense and comfort in the striking are still her biggest problems. When it comes to Andrade, it's always hard to predict how she's going to show up. Jasudavicius is still green as a striker, and her lack of head movement could get her in trouble against the power puncher here. That being said, she has a lot of good qualities for this matchup. She's big, conditioned, and a good clincher. And her newfound ability to move on the outside and control exchanges with hand fighting and transitions are great for this fight. A prime Andrade would have a very good shot at just shutting the lights off here. And I think she still has a decent shot, but if she doesn't use her leg kicks and bodywork or gets frustrated with the movement, her chances become slimmer by the second. I think the improvements of the Canadian, coupled with the inconsistency of the Brazilian, meet at the right place for the local to get a victory. I'm picking Jasudavicius by decision here. Okay, let's get back to the chat. Let's see. Did you know that Dan Tommy's guest hosting on Cagecraft? No, I didn't know, man. I tried to tune in, man. I've been so busy this week, man. Jasmine looked better her last time out. I thought less zombie walking through offense. Yeah, I thought Jasmine looked. I've never been like super sold on Jasudavicius, but I think she looked great against Silva, to be honest. Like, great use of transitions, a lot more comfort inside the pocket. And Jessica doesn't throw enough nowadays, man. Is Natalia Silva undersized for 125? I think she's pretty well. I don't agree with that. I've seen a lot of people say that. She looked pretty big next to Jessica Andrade. I don't think she's going to look small next to Alexa Grasso. I think Natalia Silva is like well sized for 125. She's bigger than Amanda Rivas for sure. Jasudavicius has a crazy shin, man. Intercepting elbows for Jazz, a good shot in this fight. Yeah, and I think she will try to, man. Oh man, I don't really get into the. I don't really put much into my predictions, to be honest. Like, I just like to do analysis. Putting a prediction at the end is just like, it's just like part of it. But I don't take pride in making like right predictions unless it's something that I think. If I'm not super vocal about a prediction, it's because I don't really know, man. I just like doing analysis. I'm more concerned with that part. I know a lot of like bettors listen to me, and I don't have any problem with that, man. I'm not against betting, even though I don't bet myself. But I'm more entertained by. Yeah, that's the fun of MMA. It's so crazy. That's why the line sucks, right? The lines in MMA are so bad because like it's super hard to predict. Yeah, I think that the problem with Jessica is that she has been throwing less and less. And that's like concerning. The other thing is that Jessica Andrade, historically at 125, not very good at clinching in open space. You can see like Valentina throw her around. Blanchfield threw her around too. Jasudavicius is very big, man. And she's strong. And she has cardio. Man, I feel like some people like only get the thrill of it with the predictions. I don't really get it to be honest. I mean, I understand it, but I don't share that. We're going to okay. Let's move on to the next fight. This one should be fun, but I don't like either of these guys. I'll be honest, man. I'll be honest. Hey, I get it, man. I used to be a. Rigoberto Ramon Ramirez. That's a crazy name, man. That sounds like very classic boxer name, man. Rigoberto. Hey, okay, let's get back into the fight, and I'll answer questions after that. We move to a welterweight bout. We have Mike Malott against Charlie Radtke. Let's begin with Malott, an athletic and big action fighter. Mostly a southpaw, Malott likes to close distance with short combinations, looking to set up one big strike. Having an affinity for the 2-3 and 3-2 changeup, he often switches to close the distance, and his shifts are disguised by his kicks and shoulder feints. Dangerous as a counter puncher, mostly because he throws back hard and has good mechanics in his hooks from both sides. but his head remains stationary most of the time. Decent management and footwork are both decent, but not much else in the way of defense. He hides behind his shoulders after punching, but again, doesn't move his head much. Decently strong in the clinch, and can find trips from there, and can also shoot serviceable takedowns. Once on the mat, he's a very opportunistic grappler with heavy top pressure and passes, but also dangerous in transitions with chokes. Especially his front headlock series that has been consistent show ender throughout his career. Malott seems to be very durable, and while he doesn't have a nuanced game, he seems to figure stuff out during fights. Conditioning wasn't up to par in his loss to Neil Magny, and his confidence looked shook in his last fight, almost completely foregoing his boxing. Lack of depth is Malott's biggest problem, other than what was already mentioned, and he doesn't have a big number of options to solve problems. Against him we have Charlie Radtke, decently athletic and strong, well-rounded fighter, currently training with Mike Baye, with champion Belal Mohammed. He's mostly a boxer on the feet, fights at a moderate pace behind the jab, preferably in open space or walking people down, constantly looking to put the 1-2 together or draw an attack to sleep and come back with the 2-3 or 3-2. The left hook is his money maker. He throws it leaping from range, or he sees sound for it during the aforementioned combinations. He moves decently well, but other than backing up and fierce layer head movement, there's not much in the way of defense. But this is alleviated by his counter-punching potency. His lack of a consistency kicking game means he can struggle at long range, relying on waiting for spots to close the distance. A solid, well put together wrestler and grappler, both offensively and defensively. He's aided by good physicality and timing. He can struggle with transitions though, getting caught with takedowns mid combinations or hit during clinch breaks. And he doesn't have much setups in the way of clinch entries or takedowns in open space of his own. Radtke is solid and well put together, but he lacks depth and connective tissue when he doesn't get his A game of creating boxing exchanges. This fight pits two finishers with very different approaches. While both pack fight-ending power in their punches and neither really have much depth to their game, they're still pretty dissimilar. Radtke has a better put-together boxing game, while Malott is more of an active kicker and relies more on dynamic tricks. As grapplers, Malott is more dynamic, but you shouldn't discount Radtke's more traditional approach. If Radtke can consistently create boxing exchanges, the boxing exchanges he likes, he should win the fight. He has the tighter punches with better defense in exchanges. But that being said, Malott is a puncher in his own right, and he's the longer fighter who also happens to be the kicker in the matchup. While I think Radtke comes into the fight with better coaching and a more cohesive game, I feel like Malott is better equipped to make adjustments on a skill set alone. Put a possible grappler advantage at the fact that Malott can compete better with Radtke's A game than otherwise. I have to side with the Canadian here again. So I'm thinking that Malott gets a submission after hurting Radtke in the second round. Okay. Man, Malott looked trash against Magny, man. He looked pretty bad. This is the battle of mid? Yeah, man. Oh, man. They're good, but I cannot get behind either of these guys, to be honest. Odds on Radtke going on a rant against Canada if he wins against Mid Malito. I've been binge watching some old fight side stuff. How many different podcasts do you guys have? Like a million, man. The most interesting thing about Radtke is that he puts out an apology for being a bigot, saying Shock Buffalo loves everybody. Oh, really? I didn't see that, man. Hey, man, listen. I think it's very bad that Charlie Radtke used that slur, and it made me think very badly of him. But and I don't know if the apology is sincere, but I actually appreciate that he gave an apology, man. I'm not saying that I believe him, but in current day, like bigotry is being so well accepted that I feel like a lot of fighters wouldn't even take the time to give out an apology, man. So yeah, actually, like I'm giving some points to Charlie Radtke, to be honest. And I don't know, man. I haven't read it, but at least he tried, man. And to be honest, like the guys from, I don't know if Mike Valle is like a cool guy, but they seem to have like some kind of values over there. At the very least, they try to project that, because like to me, like if anyone from Mike Valle like give me like bad vibes, is Jair Rodriguez, man. Jair Rodriguez gives me terrible vibes as a person. He seems awful. I don't know if I'm the only one that gets those vibes. I don't get those vibes from Bahamondes, from Belal, but I get those vibes from Jair, man. El Magantera. El Magantera. Okay. Let's move on to the main card, I think. Oh yeah, main card. For whatever reason. And with that, we move to the main card. This time around, I will not be doing profiles for the fighters on the main card, as I feel like most of them are like pretty well known. But you guys can give me feedback, and if you want like profiles for all the fighters, including the main event, I can go back to do the full reports on that. But for the time being, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that for this episode. So you guys let me know if you guys like the profiles. I can go back and do them. Okay, the opener of the main card, we have Benoit Saint-Denis against Kyle Prepolec. So Benoit Saint-Denis was supposed to fight Joel Alvarez in a pivotal lightweight fight, with Alvarez carrying big momentum and looking great since losing to Sarukian, and BSD looking to rebound after rough losses to Poirier and Moicano. Alvarez injured his hand, and now instead of him, we have a returning Kyle Prepolec. The Canadian had a 0-2 stint in the UFC more than 5 years ago, and is 4-1 since, losing to Shane Campbell, the only high-level opponent he has faced since. He last saw action in mid-2024, beating a 42-year-old journeyman via TKO. A bit of a puzzling decision by the UFC, but you never know the politics behind it all. So what does Prepolec bring to the table? Prepolec is a southpaw kicker, so that puts him in a close stance matchup against Saint-Denis. Benoit was just as aggressive as always against Poirier, but it was clear that it was harder to mask some of his flaws with aggression without the open stance tactics. Prepolec has more experience, and if things slow down, he might be the more comfortable striker of the two. And he likes to go to the body, which could be helpful against BSD, who tends to fade away, and is usually saved by his opponents also tiring and the damage that he usually inflicts. That being said, even if the Frenchman shows up with a more cautious approach, he should hold a significant athletic edge over the Canadian. That, on top of Prepolec being predominantly a striker coming in short notice to deal with the clinching and grappling onslaught of Benoit. I mean, this is MMA, there's always a chance, but you shouldn't think too much about this one. Prepolec can land a big knee or rally if he survives, but the logical pick is obviously Benoit Saint-Denis via submission in round 1. Okay, let's get back to the... Layup for tennis? Yeah, man. Prepolec has been pressuring people slowly in the regional scene and countering. Yeah, but I think like Benoit Saint-Denis will just be throwing like kicks, and Prepolec is not going to like that. Benoit Saint-Denis kicks like way harder than him with the Druncus Pluncus. Yeah, man, it's very probable actually. This is rough matchmaking, man. Especially for a ranked fighter. I don't know if Saint-Denis is still a ranked fighter. I think he is, right? I don't like Saint-Denis, man, but he's going to cook this guy, man. Prepolec is not on the level of this guy. Like, we've seen Saint-Denis against some like mid lightweights in the UFC. We saw like Saint-Denis against Prepolec, against Thiago. He just murders those guys, man. Like, this was last. I'm not sure, man. I think Saint-Denis gets a takedown against Alvarez, and Alvarez turns into a puppy. But on the feet, Alvarez can be rough. No, Alvarez injured his hand. That's why he's out. He's out because of a hand injury. Yeah, apparently he couldn't like make a fist, so it was bad. We have our second of 3 flyweight matches of the night. And we have a very interesting one between Alexa Grasso, former champion, and rising prospect Natalia Silva. I think this is one of the hardest fights to pick in this event. It is about between strikers. It is likely to play as boxer versus kicker. Grappling is a bit of a wildcard here. Grasso has shown straight up poor takedown defense at times and has been controlled, particularly in her last fight. Silva, on the other hand, has 7 submission wins in her career, compared to Grasso's 2, and she has been able to defend against wrestlers so far in Jasudavicius and Araujo. Despite this, I think it is more likely that Alexa tries takedowns. She has looked powerful during tie-ups despite being a former strawweight. Grasso's 2 submission victories came in the UFC against kickboxers in Shevchenko and Jojo Wood, while Silva's submission wins came against mostly unexperienced regional level fighters. Silva might be the kicker in this matchup, but she has good hands that are backed by tremendous speed. She leans back a lot but remains aware of counters. And despite Grasso's boxing-oriented background, she isn't the most nuanced boxer, but what she has is that she sits down and has very good mechanics. The other thing that Grasso has is that she has comfort inside the pocket that is only afforded by sparring and fighting experience in those situations. I would say that Grasso is not great at adapting, but she has a lot of heart and she usually comes prepared with a few good ideas to deal with opponents. Silva, on the other hand, is pretty much always herself, presenting as a puzzle to be solved. Grasso has the skill set. If she complements her skill set with a few good tactics, this is very winnable for her, I think. Grasso is probably the harder puncher, and her mechanics and poise are better suited for prolonged exchanges. If she's able to start combinations going to the body when she has Silva against the fence, things could look very good for the Mexican. She has also shown the ability to leg kick, which is always helpful against someone so mobile, and she could take advantage of desperate moments against the fence, just like she did against Valentina's ill-advised spinning back kick. And we saw something like that in the Natalia Silva versus Jessica Andrade fight. I made a funny video about that, so you can check it out. Grasso could replicate the few moments of success Jessica Andrade had doing these things against Silva, while enjoying a slight length advantage in height and reach. The big problem that makes me side with Silva is that Grasso, just like her teammates Irene Aldana and Diego Lopez, is not great at cutting the cage. Silva has been easy to put against the fence in the past, but has also shown urgency and a few tools to get back to the center. This coupled with Grasso's lack of resources from open space, other than closing in with the 1-2 or countering, makes me think this fight might be hard for her. This one comes down to who comes better prepared. Alexa would have to bring more adjustments here, and I don't like to trust that. So I'm picking Silva here to win a decision. Okay, let's go back to the chat. Were you the one that said that BSD looks... I think that was Dan Tom, actually. Both these girls likes to scare on the outside. Do you think Cagecraft will be key? Grasso as good as a game planner as Whaley? No, not really. She comes with a few good ideas though. Silva better combinations. I mean, if she includes kicks, yeah. Neither is good at cage cutting. Silva's gonna win by speed. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it seems like I feel like Alexa has not been trending in the right direction. I feel like she had a very good... she had a very good performance that she was not winning on that first fight against Valentina. Then she put on a pretty decent performance the second time around with some bro moments with bad takedown defense. Something that I didn't mention is... I'm not sure if Grasso is getting worse, but I'm not sure where her headspace is at. One thing that I didn't mention in the analysis is that maybe Silva takes her down because she seems to have pretty good judo inside the clinch. And Alexa at times Alexa defends a good takedown, and other times her takedown defense looks awful. And that's one thing that, if there's one thing that Diego Lopez is the grappling coach of Irene and Alexa, so he's going to be a better jiu-jitsu player. But Diego Lopez is a way better wrestler than the two of them too. If Alexa and Irene were better wrestlers, they would be super good. But they just refuse. Okay. I'm going to spit fire right now. We have a bantamweight fight. A bantamweight fight. Excuse me. We have the King of Rio, Jose Aldo, against Aiemann Zahabi. Okay, so let's get to the chase here. Like all current Aldo's fights, this one hugely depends on how washed Aldo looks inside the cage. This one even more, as Zahabi's skill set, if it is to work, it is largely functional. It's largely in function of exploiting Aldo being old and shop-worn. What Zahabi brings to the table is a solid and well put together boxing game with defense and some sketchy punching mechanics here and there. And that's kinda what Aldo is at this stage too. So at the very least, Zahabi brings he comes in well prepared to take Aldo and be comfortable in his area of comfort. When I say this depends on the form of Aldo, it's because I feel like Zahabi doesn't have much to offer to the mythical prime Jose Aldo. He's both a lesser technician overall and an inferior athlete. But Aldo has a key points that might play into the Canadian, especially considering their similarities. Aldo's mechanics to his right hand were never pristine, but he looks downright stiff during prolonged exchanges nowadays. And more importantly, he falls into big lapses of inactivity or defensive focus, as Zahabi is better equipped than most to exploit these moments. Aiemann, building combinations of the jab, might be able to exploit the head movement of Aldo, and his wide overhand might be a hard read for the Brazilian, maybe. But Zahabi can get sloppy with his longer combos. But on the other hand, Aldo is not the powerful counter-puncher that he once was. And he's not as accurate anymore either. Aiemann also not a fantastic offensive wrestler, but his boxing comfort might allow him to fight something during transitions, and if he gets on top, I'm not sure Aldo can get back up. With all of this being said, Aldo has not been losing on the feet. We gotta remember this. His last time being outstruck was against a prime Petr Yan, in a fight which Aldo still took 2 rounds from the Russian. And it is not like Aldo hasn't been fighting fighters with capable boxing either. We gotta remember that he beat the shit out of Rofont. He was outstriking Chito Vera. And like, Chito and Rofont as boxers, very comparable in technique to Zahabi. But the difference is that both are like way better athletes. We know, Aldo is old. He would look worse than ever here. Or he might get clipped and finished, like. But unless Zahabi is capable of mixing some damage at range and in transitions with some good old fence hugging, I don't think he has the profile to win here. Like, I think the Aldo of the Bautista fight is perfectly capable of taking 2 rounds from Aiemann Zahabi. I don't know if I regret it, but I'm willing to pick Aldo for maybe the last time here. My final pick here. I want to believe Jose Aldo by decision. I'm gonna take Aieman's cap and display it in the minion bedroom. Yeah, Aiemann can move his head, but if he goes like for the high elbow that he likes and the TriStar guys likes, the body shots might be there. That's a very good read, Moise. Zahabi's just like 2 years younger than Aldo too, man. Intercepting knee, maybe. Like, Zahabi fights out of like a crouch stance, but I don't. And he sometimes like close the distance, kind of like sloppily. So yeah, the thing is that Zahabi doesn't have the physicality. Yeah, for sure. Like, obviously, Zahabi is like physically he's way younger than Aldo, but he's a way worse athlete. Like, I saw some sequence of like Zahabi against like Pedro Munoz, where he were like some uppercuts inside the clinch and tried to knee him. He's like not very fast and not super coordinated. This is a very big difference in physicality between like Mario Bautista and Aiemann Zahabi. So yeah, if Aldo wins, I'm going to go crazy, but I think it's the right pick, man. Like, I think Jonathan Martinez is a lot better than Aiemann Zahabi. Like, honestly, I know that Zahabi has that win against Basharat, and I rate that win. The one against Pedro Munoz, I don't really rate, to be honest. Like, Munoz has been looking dreadful as of late. And Jose Aldo, like, washed a way better version of Pedro Munoz and had, like, way less trouble. Like, he looked untouchable there. Yeah, I mean, I think Aldo, when he has been fighting strikers, like, he put some clinics, man. Zahabi might try for some takedowns, but I don't think he's athletic enough to pull it off, man. And now it's time for our final flyweight bout, and this one is for the title. We have our co-main event. We have Valentina Shevchenko against Manon Fiorot. This is an interesting matchup between strikers with some stylistic similarities and some key differences. Valentina already faced a bigger, more active karate version of herself when she squared off against Holly Holm, but that was like bordering on a decade ago. There's limited tape on Fiorot against fellow Southpaws, While Shevchenko faced the aforementioned Holm and the orthodox Grasso spent large portions of their trilogy as a lefty. Both girls are well equipped to the close stance matchup though, at least in theory. Both are active jabbers and favor the lead hook as a counter, and both have a pretty decent one too. While there's for sure more finesse to Valentina's lead hand game, Fiorot fights with more intensity and physicality, especially compared to the current version of Valentina. Shevchenko, while still an impressive athlete, she has lost some of the explosiveness and physicality that defined her original dominant title reign. Fiorot is only 2 years younger, but has half the pro experience in MMA, and certainly looks in her physical prime, and she's an athletic specimen. Fiorot also has the better left hand of the two, and while her right hook isn't as tight or as sophisticated as Valentina's, it might just be more powerful at this point. The French also holds a decent size advantage and will be able to compete at kicking range better than someone like Grasso, for example. Valentina at her best would be able to outjab Fiorot from range, I feel, being the better defensive fighter. She would be able to land the better kicks, have better moments inside the clinch, even find some takedowns despite the sturdy takedown defense of the challenger. But nowadays, it is hard to not see Manon as the more imposing physical presence inside the cage, getting to spots to bully the champion just like Grasso did. And the takedown might just be the downfall for Valentina, as any miscalculation in timing or the wrong choice of technique can end up with her on the bottom against the larger fighter. There are avenues for Valentina for sure. It is not like Fiorot doesn't have low-key, very competitive kickboxing fights against Chookagian and Bueno Silva. And Valentina, even now, is still a more refined and better defensive fighter than either like Chookagian or Bueno Silva. But at the end of the day, to me, this fight comes to margins, and I think Valentina will navigate close rounds where any clean connection from the contender might swing the round her way. That coupled with the bad feeling I have about takedowns, and I think we'll have a new champion. This is not unwinnable for Valentina, and I would not be surprised if she makes Fiorot look incredibly mundane at times, but I think it is the output, physicality, and ability to compete at all ranges that will give Fiorot a decision victory. Okay, guys. Getting back here. Main command might be the real sinkers, while the rest of the night is fun. I think Belal cannot get a boring fight out of Jack Della, but we'll get to that, man. Yeah, Valentina looks very diminished, man. Well, blitzing with your chin up is not related to distance control, but I feel like if you compare the distance management of Fiorot, you compare that to like prime Valentina Shevchenko, it's like very big difference in my opinion. Like Valentina has way better footwork. She hits tighter pivots consistently. She backs up in a more precise way. She closes the distance with the smaller steps. I don't think I just think that in her prime, Valentina is a lot more sophisticated. But I feel like this version of Valentina will have trouble with the physicality and the output. Valentina doesn't throw that much nowadays, and when she throws, she doesn't throw that hard. And I think that's going to cost her. I think Valentina... Oh, if you're gonna tire out at the end of the third... That could happen, man, but I don't think Valentina like super takes over anymore. Like she's not very damaging from top position now. She just doesn't like selling out on big kicks. Valentina is a lot less damaging in close stance matchups too. Like she has a brilliant jab, she has a pretty good right hook, but she was not like hurting Grasso at any moment. I'm rooting for Valentina. I unlike like 99% of Twitter, I've always liked Valentina. I know she puts on a lot of like bad fights, like boring fights, but I think she's very, very good, especially in her prime. In her prime, I feel like Valentina is the GOAT. I feel like better than than Amanda, man. Valentina was like half the size of Amanda Nunes, and you could argue that she won that fight. Valentina is half the size of Holly Holm, and she beat her. So I think Valentina is like the best ever for me. So yeah, let's get into the main event. And with that, we get to our main event. Belal, remember the name Mohammed, squares off against Jack Della Maddalena. So, Belal took the title from a southpaw striker with a surprisingly deep grappling game and tries his fierce defense against a southpaw striker with a surprisingly deep grappling game. Or than painting it like that, Jack Della is like nothing like Leon Edwards though. While Edwards is more of the sniper archetype, like in time and space and using sophisticated clinch game to mitigate risk and outmaneuver opponents, Jack Della is an aggressive combination puncher who also has good counter capabilities. So Belal just can't replicate the Leon game plan here. There's a lot to like from that performance to transpose into this one, like the aggressiveness, eating space, constantly looking for takedowns. The application has to be a bit different. Against Leon, one of the highest priorities and what marked the difference between the first and the second encounter of Belal and Leon was that Belal made sure to maintain boxing range basically at all times against the now former champion to ensure he didn't have time to work setups and change-ups. Boxing range is immediately more dangerous against the Australian, who can extend exchanges past far what most MMA fighters are comfortable with, and has poise in those situations on top of it. Belal would be wise to employ more kicks this time around, I think, looking to stand his opponent up with high kicks, damaging his arm with body kicks, and try to shoot under counter punches and drive Della to the fence. While Mohammed has made a lot about his Canelo hands, and there are like some notable mechanical improvements to his punches and positioning, he still leaves openings, and it's on the roadside when it comes to pocket exchanges. On the other hand, like Jack Della is no slouch in the wrestling department, man. Like while he's known to get into like sketchy positions, he's a very good mat wrestler and a crazy scrambler. He also has been training with Craig Jones, and we know that Craig Jones seemed to prepare Volkanovski very well, not only for the grappling but also the wrestling habits of Islam Makhachev. It seems like Craig Jones or someone in his team like a very good scouter when it comes to grappling. Della is more urgent to create space and get up than Leon. If anything, it is more likely that Jack Della gets caught on a submission, getting too reckless. He's more likely to do that than he is to allow like a boring decision mark his defeat. But you gotta consider that Jack Della has been incredibly hard to submit. And so far, Belal is not exactly a finisher on the ground against elite opposition. Belal, also, we have to remember, has been vulnerable to reversals. And while he's like a high-level grappler for sure, he's not like a wizard of his back or an elite like mat wrestlers that can like wrestle out from any position. You gotta remember, Belal Muhammad dropped 2 rounds to Leon Edwards being on the bottom or getting his back taken. Like Jack like creates these kind of scrambles, and Belal is not like insanely controlling. Especially if Jack can keep this in open space, I feel like he has a lot of advantages even if he hits the ground. Belal can end up, Jack Della can end up on top position. He can use his front headlock to reverse some positions. He's very physical too. He's very strong. He's a very big welterweight. I know both guys are like the same height, and Jack Della has like only like 1 inch of reach advantage. But I feel like Belal is not going to have this physicality that he has in other matchups against Jack Della, man. And Jack Della goes to the body like constantly with hard shots, and that's like Belal has elite cardio, but he won't be able to push like the same pace that he always does, man. What Belal has going for him is that he has been getting like very resourceful with the wrestling, and he has some good scouters, because we saw like that change up to the high crotch, against Leon, when Leon was using like the 2-on-1 defense that he used against Usman, we saw that Belal came prepared with those ideas. So he probably will see some stuff that Jack Della does, and he will come well prepared. So I would not be surprised to see like Belal winning rounds out of like top control and transitions and that kind of stuff. But he gotta be careful, because like Jack Della is going to have big moments, while Leon Edwards wins like moments and he wins clean. But Jack Della has these like very obvious moments to score. And if Belal is not putting in the work from top position, I don't think the rounds are going his way. Jack Della also has been like tremendous cardio, and he goes to the body, as I just mentioned a moment ago. So I think like a lot of people are like thinking like, oh, Jack Della is going to get wrestled. But look, like Gilbert Burns at this stage, not better than Belal Muhammad. We saw a fight between them, and I'm not doing like MMA math, but Belal Muhammad is like a lot more like more output. He's a better wrestler, more physical now than current day Gilbert Burns. But Gilbert Burns is like crazy good grappler, like way better than Belal. Jack Della was able to create escapes. He was constantly able to create escapes. And Belal is not going to be a game over if he gets on top. Jack Della is not a game over if he stays on the feet. I feel like he's a way superior striker than Belal, but anything can happen, especially when someone gets like the grappling edge. We might see like Belal tagging Jack Della on the feet. We have seen this dynamic play out in MMA many times before. So I think it makes for a very compelling fight, because I feel like both guys will be able to compete at each other's A game in a better way that people are expecting. It might have some like boring, in between quotes, moments of adjustments, or of Belal imposing his will or trying to stall to win rounds. But I don't think Della is going to allow this to be a boring fight. I think he's going to bring the fight to Belal, and at the end of the day, I feel like Jack Della has the output, the bodywork, and the grappling chops to make it happen here. He's not the favorite here, choosing the underdog. I think we'll be hearing and new at the end of the day. So I think that's my pick, man. Belal has been very tough. I don't expect him to go down easy. He's going to put up a fight. But I think like the damage is going to be like too obvious to determine the rounds here. We might see some sketchy scorecards, but I'm taking the risk. I'm saying Jack Della wins a decision. That's my final pick. Jack Della wins a decision, becomes the new champion. Okay, let's get back to the chat. JDM has a real shot. Remember the name, or like remember the decision. Yeah, man, I haven't read the Movement Marshall's article because I didn't want to like plagiarize anything. Not even by accident. Without one push Pickett Mohammed. Frank Hitman is the wrestling coach for Della and Bulk. Yeah, that's cool, man. He might be the scout. No. This might be Jack's fight to lose rather than Belal's fight to win. Can JDM feint him to that position? I think that's something that's underrated against leanbacks, is just going to the body, man. You're just leaving the body out there. Like, it works to the leanback is very good to defend like body kicks sometimes. When you see guys in Muay Thai doing like the leanback to the head kick, and they take the body kick in the arms, and it takes a lot of that. But if you go with a sponge down the middle, it's not a sponge, a punch, like a straight punch, and Jack Della has those like straight uppercuts to the body. Kinda need Belal to win so we get Erslan versus Topuria. Oh man, I don't know, man. I love Jack Della too much, man. I cannot root against my boy, man. But I feel like I'm being fair with my pick here. I feel like I'm being honest with my pick. I'm not picking Jack Della because I like him. Actually, I usually don't pick for the guys I like. I try to hedge most of the time, but I don't know, man. I just see it. I know Belal is like very well put together, but I feel like the lack of X factor is gonna cost you at one moment. I think it's gonna cost him here. Like, also like Jack Della is like 8 years younger than him. So I don't know, man. I'm feeling Jack Della here. I'm feeling Jack Della. I'm not going to back out. I might get very sad during stream if like Belal just lays on top of him, or just like, if Belal wins, I want him to win like a cool fight. Like, I want to bring it to Jack Della to show us, to shut all of us off with like some like very good performance. I was not I thought that the fight against Leon was very good, but I'm not like entirely sold on that one, man. I feel like a lot of that came like exploiting some like very big flaws about Leon, more than Belal like looking fantastic. He still escaped from Gilbert Burns. Like, obviously he cannot do that like 100 times in a fight, but I think he can do it enough times to win the rounds on the feet. I think people forget that Belal's striking is kind of mid. Like, he has been fighting bad strikers. Like, people make a lot out of like Gilbert Burns old with a broken arm and Sean Brady. And Sean Brady was outstriking the shit out of Belal before getting tired too. People forget. Man, that Jack Della in Contender Series against Lusa, insane fight, man. Okay, let me get to the outro. And that's the pay-per-view. I think this is a pretty solid one. Let's make a review very quick. What I think about each fight when it comes to like entertaining and importance about all of them. So we have the opener, Brad Katona against Bekzat Almakhan. Not super important for the division, but it's a very cool fight, especially because it pits like two very well-rounded fighters that are going to bring the action. It's always good to open up with an action fight. And like Almakhan took obviously a short notice fight against Umar Nurmagomedov. That's like super high task. And Katona is coming off that loss in a very close fight that you could score for Katona against Jan Matsumoto. So this one is cool. After that, we have Willie Cat, who we all hope makes it to the cage this time against Yeong Lee, who I'm a fan of both these fighters. This one could be fight of the night. This one has banger written all over it. I support this fight. Barriault versus Bruno Silva. It's like old man versus old man. This one would have been awesome like 3-5 years ago. But I'm okay with this. I don't think it's going to suck. I like when they match the old guys together, so I'm not going to complain about this one. Navajo Stirling versus Ivan Erslan. Good action fight at 205. I approve. Bukauskas versus Yeong Cutelaba, like a more like high profile 205 fight. I like it. It's going to be action packed. Maybe it's going to be a bit silly at times, but I'm not against that. It's at least it's like guys that go for it and have like a good skill set. So this is like, you can do way worse at 205 than this. Then you have Jessica Andrade. I'm not that super fan of Andrade at 125, but Jasudavicius like changed my mind about her in her last fight. So I like that. I think this is a solid fight. Malott versus Radtke, like, I'm not a huge fan of either guy, but I think this is like guaranteed action, so I cannot complain really about this one. Someone is probably going out in this one, and if it's Malott, the Canadians love Malott, so the atmosphere is going to be great. Radtke is going to be the heel, you know that. it's a good fight. I mean, it's not like a super high profile or important fight. I'm not super high on either of these guys as potential prospects in the division, but I think it's like good like action matchmaking. Saint-Denis versus Prepolec, obviously like the weak link of the card. Uh, unless Prepolec like brings out the upset, he should not be at the level of Saint-Denis. Obviously, this is a very short notice replacement, so we cannot really complain about that. At least they kept Saint-Denis on the card. Grasso versus Silva. This should be for the next contender for the title, and I'm very intrigued by it because like if Grasso comes prepared, she could like surprise people against Silva, who has been looking like $1,000,000 in her UFC run. Aldo versus Zahabi, big potential to be very sad if Aldo loses, but I don't think he's going to lose, but we'll see. This one might be like a low point if Aldo looks like super washed. Or co-main event, there's a chance that this one is boring. I think that more than like low action, it might get like samey. Because like Fiorot goes for it and she has high output, so I don't think this is going to be a fight where they don't hit each other, but it might be a fight where we see the same exchanges over and over again. But it's compelling. It is compelling to see if Shevchenko can win this fight. I would rate that win very highly just because Shevchenko is so old right now. I know Fiorot is also like up there in age, but she's not like up there in fight age like Valentina. Like Valentina has been fighting like since she's 13, so this is a okay fight. And I'm glad that Fiorot got the title shot because she for sure deserves it, man. And the main event is great. I'm very, very compelled by this fight. Jack also took it like on a decent amount of time. I hope he comes well prepared. I hope the cardio holds up for Jack Della and we have a great fight here, man. If Belal is going to be the welterweight champion, hopefully he shows up here and shows us why he's the champion, why he's the best. And if Jack Della is the new champion, like we have a very exciting champion. So I feel like unless like Belal just can lay on top of Jack Della, which I don't think is super probable, I think this fight is going to be fun, man. And I think that the matchmaking in this pay-per-view is very, very solid. I like it. Fights I recommend. Katona versus Almakhan. Daniel Santos versus Yeong Lee. And Grasso versus Silva. I feel like those fights are going to be fire. And the main event, obviously. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in for the recorded version of the podcast. I'll be joining the chat for those of you that are live. Remember that if you want to support the fight site, you can head over to Patreon or buy some merch. Links are in the description. Thank you so much, guys. Catch you on the next one. Okay, guys, that's the recorded version. I'll be catching up with some comments here before leaving. So we aren't going to see Weili versus Val. I mean, it's not impossible that Valentina wins here, but I think like it's Fiorot who is going to win. Jack Della, one of my favorite current fighters. For me, one of my absolute favorites right now, man. Strawweight is so clogged up at the moment. Birna first before anything. Yeah, they gotta give the title shot to Birna, man. Did Dana really say that? That's crazy, man. Islam versus Jack. I don't know how big Islam is at 170, man. I'm very curious about that. I'm not super sure, man. Is Islam like... Because Islam doesn't push the crazy pace that Belal does. But But Islam, you gotta admit, like he's a more sophisticated fighter than Belal in basically every phase of the game. But obviously, Islam, I don't think he would be the physical presence he is at 155, at 170. He doesn't have the size. Like Belal is bigger than Islam for sure. Do you hate fighters that get that treatment? I mean, I don't necessarily hate the fighters. I sometimes root against those fighters with privilege, but I hate the UFC for doing that kind of stuff, not the fighters necessarily. But it's fun to root against like the company man. Like, I know we all love Wei Li here, but at the same time, like, it is the poster boy of the UFC. Like if Wei Li like eventually loses to anyone, I'm not going to be happy because she lost, but it's going to be funny if it's someone that Dana hates, right? I love when, even if it's a fighter that I love, I try to see the bright side, and if it's a result that makes Dana White mad, it's something that I can support for sure. I can get behind that. But yeah, no, I cannot hate on Wei Li. I mean, she's a good fighter. Like, she's a good fighter that tries to do cool stuff. So I cannot hate on a fight like that. Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to sleep. Thank you guys for joining. Like, I feel like we had a very fun chat tonight. Thanks everyone who showed up. Put the timestamps tomorrow, and obviously Fight Companion on Saturday. We'll see if I go crazy for. We'll see if I go crazy for Jack Della, man. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully you guys tune in for the Fight Companion. Thank you guys. Catch you on the next one.